wanted to involve myself as much as possible in their treatment. And I noticed that sometimes that wasn't wanted by different treatment facilities. My opinion and my thoughts and my feelings were often negated and just kind of unwanted.
You had different roles within the treatment facilities. What would you have wanted from them?
I think validation was the first thing that I wanted. I myself have anxiety, so I think it was hard for me to have these concerns and have these fears for myself and for my sisters and my parents as well, mainly my mother, just on how the eating disorder was affecting our family dynamic and our family structure. And I had questions. I had, fears for myself, like what if I developed an eating disorder as well, was one of my biggest fears. And, what was this doing to my mom? What was this doing to my father? What was this doing to my relationship with my siblings? And I wasn't really getting answers. And I know those are tough questions to answer, and sometimes there really isn't a clear-cut answer to them. But at the same time, I felt like I needed validation for the fact that I was going through this too. And I wasn't really getting any support in that sense of, hey, we hear you. We know you're in this family as well. It was more often that I was kind of told to push that aside and just let's focus on them and getting them better first before we dealt with my issues. Well, how are we going to deal with my issues if by the time we get to them, they're treated, they're in recovery, they're in a pretty stable place.
They offered, if they didn't want you in assisting with your sisters, would it have been helpful to have your own specific treatment?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was included in it really depended on the level of treatment that they were in. I found that the residential treatment that Katie was in was the most supportive of me and the most willing to hear me out and kind of hear what I had to say. But
what was supportive of that?
I just felt as though the directors and the therapists at this treatment facility really valued the fact that I had something to say and that I've been through the process with my sisters. Whereas in the PHP and the IOP levels, the place that my sisters were being treated, they only offered parent support groups. And I was asked to come in a few times, but more often than not, they kind of didn't want me in there because obviously my experience is a lot different than what a parent experiences. And although there wasn't a sibling support group at the residential treatment facility, there was family groups that were a lot more inclusive and just felt a lot more open and willing to hear what I had to say. And oftentimes I was asked what I thought on an issue and, what I had to say. I think they valued the fact that I have and all siblings have a very unique perspective because we're not the parent, but at the same level, we're removed enough where we're watching. I think a sibling is a very observant position to be in. And even though I was away at college, I still knew what was going on. So I would take the train to the residential treatment facility just to go to these support groups because I was more encouraged to go because I felt wanted.